Welcome to the session of Trials, probably by combat. Last session, we went to war, and it finished after we got to the Will River, and were utterly destroyed by epic archers on death towers over death bridges. We lost 100 men, the engineers, sadly, our flag unit, as it were. Our house being known for our great engineers. And then we went home after being crushed, because we basically said, fuck that, let's go home. Got home. Alaric's sponsor, Sir Ashra Tyrell, was there already. He has the heir to the marshes as a possible squire for Alaric, which Alaric liked very, very much. He's still quite young, so we'll see how everything goes. A few days later, a Kingsguard showed up and said, you have a couple of days to pack and get everything ready. We're going to Highgarden for your trial. And we were like, okay, sure, we saw this coming. So we packed all of our things, and I believe we're about to go. That's basically session.
That's one of the main things we did. Was we kind of delayed when we left by a couple of days to make sure my wounds were healed.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone got an injury. Got like a couple injuries and wounds. So
The thing is, Bree getting a wound wasn't the biggest issue because Bree could get over it by herself.
yeah. Alaric
He's
didn't
tough.
get touched though because he's the commander.
Yes, and I noticed how the person in full plate was nowhere near the fighting.
Hey, they ignore armor, alright?
He was standing on a hill with like a banner or something. And
Yeah, I
had
had
a
numerous
horn blower, like,
flags.
Looking very heroic.
you there, move out, attack.
It was very inspiring, all things
Poke
considered.
that person there with the.
It wasn't,
Yeah, so-
it wasn't inspiring for my kidney.
Fire.
So we're gonna go to Highgarden and try to defend ourselves from the outrageous acts we actually committed.
Yeah.
Yes.
The judges being the Baratheon Lord, Gormy, one of the Jordanes, and
Hightower.
Hightower, Lord Hightower. So
Acting as steward for our
our
Lord.
Lord. So yeah, we're basically leaving with a Kingsguard. Hopefully, we don't get brutally murdered on the way.
That's so clean. Lovely talking you have there.
So happy days.
Who would dare attack a Kingsguard? No one's ever done that.
No,
I mean, have you seen his cloak?
It's so white. How do they keep it so white? Especially like
You don't want to know how to
in
keep it.
It
medieval.
gets dirty from time to time, but you get people to wash it.
Oh yeah, we didn't actually see Ashra.
We didn't see the tokens.
We didn't see the tokens.
Oh,
because they were the double crosses.
yes.
So
I know your token very
Man,
well. I
he
have
looks
it in
quite
I have it in my
Cute!
Manfair, oh god.
he
look
looks
at that.
adorable. I like
Look
it.
Look at that
He is
kid.
Ashra
adorable.
looks
Ashra
haggard.
looks a bit haggard. He looks like
Yeah.
a witcher. He's like, oh.
No, you know what it is. He's been to too many.
Everyone hide
taverns
your
with
women!
Alaric.
It is the way. If asked, he'll say it is the look that makes him seem that makes the creeping old age seem attractive rather than yeah. He tried that whole like old man who is still super sweet, but that got creepy. So.
He tried the
Yeah,
Dessem
but
look.
because he still wants to bed all the maidens. I mean, you know.
Well, I mean,
Duh.
how long
he-
ago
he-
have you been to Highgarden?
I think he expressively asked about it like at least twice, like in the hour he was in last session. He was like, "Can I get laid around here somewhere?" Should we also bring your sweet servant Lucas?
I mean, it would also make sense because you normally bring at least 7 guards. You normally bring your own servants and retainers. So
I mean, you're pretty
Lucas
sweet
can
on
come.
him, so you might want him along. That's what I'm basically asking.
and it is Highgarden.
Yeah, it
It's
is
Highgarden.
Highgarden. It's a treat.
And whatever
Everin's
happens
also-
in Highgarden stays in Highgarden. That's what we say.
Yeah.
Is that how it works? Okay.
That is how it works.
And Everin's
As long as you do your duty when it's in your marriage, we don't really care that much, honestly. Adopting
I
the
care.
philosophy of the Queen of Thorns here.
holy
I
crap!
care,
Look at
but I'm
Maester
a
Harry.
pervert, so... He's
Maester
come
Harry
to
is
say
huge.
goodbye.
Mr. Harry.
He's a huge cat now.
He's a huge
fucking
cat.
massive.
We
Holy
need to.
crap.
That is. Beast.
I need to kill that thing before it gets out of hand.
It's like the
No,
coach
it's my
thought.
cat.
Is it a
Like the-
shadow cat or something? God
No,
damn
he's
it.
just a really big fat cat.
Yeah, that is a very fat cat.
It's huge. It's as big as Nima. Kill it.
Have you-
Get him to fire.
I mean, he's eating all the rats, right?
Wow.
Look! When you put your cursor over him, look how he. That's how he reacts when someone tries to pit him.
What's
Except
wrong with
for
his right
Nima.
eye? That eye looks weird.
Yeah. Like, whoa.
You don't want to know what happened to the eye. It will scratch you if you're even asking.
Mr. Harry, thank you for showing me here. Go
Thank you for
protect my
showing
pet.
me out.
Wait, I need. Oh, damn it! There's the bird cages in it.
What?
It's brilliant.
You're
And
not
the King's
putting my
Guard.
cat in a
Wow.
bird cage.
No, I was checking if the bird cages were still in his room. No, they're not.
No,
Aw,
we tried that, but the server crashed.
The server
sorry.
crashed. No server crashing.
Did they at least make you a little happy?
Yes. I tried to
Okay.
place them there myself, but then the server crashed the first time. That's when it crashed the first time.
You guys keep crashing everything. Stop it.
I wanted birdcage anyway.
Well,
No
Dorn
more.
is gone, so the server should have
Hooray! Finally,
I didn't
Dorn.
anticipate you guys running that way again.
No.
We were. No, we're not.
Can import it again, but hopefully.
not killing
The
Mr.
King's Guard
Harry.
is from the
He's
Vale,
from
I
House
think.
Corbray.
Yeah.
Corbray.
He's a
Corbray.
Knight of the Vale, I believe. Well,
Corbray. He has that beard he has. That takes some grooming. Getting that like
Yeah.
spike going there on the middle of the cheek. That's takes some effort.
What?
Alaric gave up with that. He's got two big hands for the. And paying
He's just
someone
using
to
a
do
dagger
that.
as a razor.
Yeah.
House
Paying someone.
Corbray's sigil, though he doesn't bear any sigil. So maybe I guess you could like figure it out amongst all of you.
He renounces all.
I mean,
But their sigils are a white field with the black ravens carrying red hearts.
Oh, Dessem likes that.
hey. You know, he's a member of the King's Guard. It
also
can't be that hard.
carries his ancestral weapon, Lady Forlorn.
Lady Forlorn, huh?
Yeah.
Is it
Yes.
Valyrian?
It is Valyrian. Of course.
How pretty.
Mm.
It has a heart-shaped ruby for a pommel, which is the only part you've currently seen.
Well, we can
They
Let's hope
lost
we
it
don't
for a
have to see
while.
the
we can compare swords.
steel.
Unless
Alaric's party
Laenys'
trick.
wife has lost it by swinging it around
No.
on the roof.
No.
That's Alaric's party trick, man.
Are you bringing it?
Comparing swords.
I mean, that's any of you going to object. Laenys is bringing Oathsworn.
Don't
Prove a
not
powerful
lose.
gift.
Just don't lose it.
Yeah.
It's a sign we're acting in the Lord's stead, so he's given us a symbol of his
Sure.
office.
Sure,
Yeah, yeah.
sure.
We're not killing the King's Guard and taking his sword, alright, chat? Not happening.
Just murder him here and take the sword. We have to now, and then we sell then we sell it to the Lannisters for all the gold.
All the gold and then buy ourselves out of this.
And we buy the Golden Company.
They
We
don't
kill
accept it.
all of Dawn.
I love gold. Anyway,
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Sir Gawain is up very early. He seems to be generally living an ascetic lifestyle. He eats not a lot. He does drink a bit of wine or cider or some such. But generally he eats just bread. He doesn't overindulge in anything really. Clearly taking his work here very seriously. He's however polite enough when spoken to during the days. That he will spend his time mostly walking around talking to the guard. And generally the servant folk and such, probably trying to get an idea of who you are and what you do. And he'll certainly let you know that the furthest south he's ever been has been this. Before that, it was Summer Hall, where he's been.
mm-hmm.
Well, he has been with the King's Guard for quite a long time. He's usually kept close.
Sure. Well, it seems thoroughly boring. So, because
I guess,
you know,
horses and carriages abound. We can go.
I'm sure he's out of sorts when, like, listening to Alaric and Ashra talk. If he's like that, all restrained and everything, and there's 2 Marcher knights talking like Marcher knights.
Mm-hmm. Well, Reacher knights, perhaps.
Reacher knights, rather. Tired already.
Where's little girl gone to?
Little girl.
Bree, is he here?
Bree's at the main area.
Yeah, she's there.
Oh, yeah.
Is Rosette coming along?
Do you want her to come along?
Does she want
She
to?
has. She actually has very little interest in going to High Garden.
If she doesn't want to
She
go.
has heard stories at home, and they're not good.
If she doesn't want.
Sounds like a really shitty place to her.
If she doesn't want to come along, she may act as Lady Bouse if she wishes.
It is a place where young women are turned into, gossipy little princesses, and she has no real desire for that sort of thing.
Yeah, if she doesn't want to come, I'm not going to make her. She can stay.
She would like to stay here as one of the highest ranking members of the house.
Yes.
Under the Lord. She might, get to learn how to boss around these people. And make them
I'm
do
sure.
what she wants.
I'm sure Agatha can help out.
Yeah. She does most of the actual bossing around.
Yeah, she is very good at
The
bossing.
point is the women are
Kind
taking,
but firm.
the women are taking
Yes.
control, Jonas.
It's like every other. That's the truth of the day, my boy. Truth of the day. Just pat on the shoulder.
But
The
yeah,
words of our house.
Yep.
Rosette's free to stay.
It's the.
Well, she will.
Is that the scum manifest on your flags? Oh.
And she will also discreetly tell you that if something happens, just don't tell her about it.
Sure.
Okay.
Of course. Again, if something, whatever happens,
It's fine. Paramours are not something to be ashamed of.
It's like Las Vegas.
So very Dornish.
That is very Dornish. Of course, with stipulation, the same counts for her.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, it's been 3 days. You've had time to pack your things, and Sir Gawain has been steadfast that you will leave in 3 days. But other than that, not really a whole lot. He suggests traveling in a small party. The road should be safe enough. There's no real need for guards, and regardless, you won't really be allowed to bring a lot of them. No forces moving around, that sort of thing.
We're allowed to bring our 7 guards for in case we do trial by 7.
Yeah.
No, we don't need 7 for it. We need our Alaric.
You would be,
Well, we would still bring 7. We still
We
bring
need
7.
Alaric.
No one invokes the trial of the 7.
Yeah, no
No,
one does
7.
it hasn't really been
The
done.
point is we have to bring it. But
Sure,
Well,
sure.
if
We
you
can
want
bring,
to.
We'll bring it.
Certainly
We'll
no
bring
one
seven.
from Doran is going to do it.
Consider it brung.
Brangin.
And if they fail to bring their 7 and we call it, oh look, too bad for you.
That would certainly be, almost calling for too much attention.
All right.
But it is early in the morning. He'll be ready to go, basically, waiting for you. Assuming none of you really gets later than sort of midday, he won't come and fetch you.
No, I don't. I think we want to go and get this over with as well. So I don't see any reason for us to dawdle.
All right then. He'll sit on his white horse and
Of course, there's a white horse.
right in front. Well, I mean, it's the King's Guard.
Of course.
I have a
of
white
course.
horse as well.
Look at that! Is the whitest horse. And then we just have that abomination, Hugo.
He's not an abomination. He's a
He is an
beautiful animal.
No,
Yeah,
he's
beautiful
a,
animals.
it's a complete abomination. Look at him. Look at those eyes. That's an eye of a murderer. Hate everything so much.
And he will basically lead you out on the road and away. He will apologize that perhaps the travel will not be as fast as it could be, as he's not really used to the area. But he has been pointed out steadfast inns along the road where he should be allowed to get everyone a free stay on the king's account.
Oh, very nice.
Yes. You travel rather expeditiously through your own lands. I mean, they're not really that huge that side. It takes maybe a day or so, and then really it's into general Tyrell lands. This has always been sort of the as you travel, sort of. You can go to the overview map. I'll make an arrow to show the route if you care.
Let me change.
Sure do.
Which of these maps are we looking at? The
Yeah, which
zoomed in
one?
map?
I'll you know what? I'll dump the good Wayne down. Man, he's huge.
He is a castle.
Holy shit!
But he will note that he will try to avoid Baratheon lands, and so he will suggest a route that goes out and along the Manda, around general into Peaklands at one point, and otherwise it'll be Ashford and Fossaway lands.
Why does he want to avoid Baratheon lands?
He sees it as unnecessary to travel through more Lord's Paramount domains than possible. Besides, down by the Prince's Pass, there has been known to be some bandit activity, and he doesn't want to deal with that.
Ignore the bandit activity around here.
Perhaps those bandits have enough respect for you traveling here that they wouldn't really want to deal with it.
Well, you've got to be careful when there's a Kingsguard moving past, because who knows how powerful they are.
No, he's probably very good at what he does.
A Valyrian sword. I am pretty sure he is incredibly skilled.
You'll travel here. He will say that you could, of course, have asked for ferrying through the Manda, but it runs very strongly in these days, and he was told not to go by barge, basically. This suits him well, as he can also bring his horse easier this way.
That's fine.
I want to bring.
Although that would generally be the fastest way, would be going to Ashford and then sailing along the Manda, down the Manda to hike. They have a dock there.
Of course.
As the city is, sort of the palace overlooks it.
They are poor horses, they get so much.
So the road will go here. Though it is much faster than traveling in the mountains in general. There are nice little sort of trails and roads that are generally you meet people, travelers, and you rest at taverns or inns all along the way, where you're given your private rooms. They're pretty big at this place. Lots of lords going sort of along this way out to the trade cities, although perhaps not the most traveled region, simply because there is the Mander that you could sail on. Most merchants choose the waterways. They're safe and quicker in general. Travelers do come here, and it is generally a pleasant trek. A night, a few days after you left, you are going to rest at a tavern called the Maimed Man, just inside of Peaklands.
Mm-hmm. Is the proprietor in fact maimed?
As you enter the place, I will make a new map for you available.
Something terrible's going to happen.
Yep, we're all gonna die.
Gonna force you to come here, so.
Just because the DM reveals a battle map doesn't necessarily mean that
It means that very likely we're all going to die.
it's going to be a horrible combat.
Are you kidding?
It doesn't have to be combat. We've had that before, like this was only injuries.
We're currently under the King's protection, you know. Anyone attacking us is going to have to deal with the King's Guard as well.
That's true, but we could be.
It could be intrigue.
The tavern is rather nice, a rather nice size, more an inn really. Is there sort of two how do you call them? Floors above the main one. It has sort of red bricks, green roof. It is a very idyllic village. Generally, as you ride, you see lots of little villages with plantations, fields, lots of cattle, that sort of thing. Not really a lot of sheep. Most sheep come from the Stormlands. Generally, lots of fruits, that sort of thing.
Apparently, I have a 28 meg thing here that's loading, so
Yes.
it'll
It takes
take
a
a bit.
Well,
That is
that's
some-
great.
That is some picture you have.
That is
When he,
it's another mass
what you see,
combat.
he's secretly uploading a virus to all of our computers.
Yep.
That's a big virus.
It's a fucking huge
That is
virus.
incredibly unnecessary big virus.
That must be like the most gargantuan virus ever.
He's going to assume direct control.
Or it's a few thousand viruses.
A few thousand viruses, or like all
Attack
cat in a
North
can.
Korea.
I will assume direct control.
He's testing out on us so that he can aim it at North Korea in a few years once he perfects
This is the
it.
time we found out that Manaki is actually a reaver.
I always knew.
Awkward.
That would actually explain something.
I always knew.
I like the fact that you said that it explains something.
I study biology, not as you would think.
Exactly.
Let's just put a whole new perspective on
You
things.
assume direct control of that
These
person.
games are pretty great, though, so I...
You were pacified, you were going to destroy us all, and then you play the games, you were like, oh, this is pretty good, actually. Maybe you should save this.
But, we continue. There's the world of the imagination. The tavern is a very nice tavern. You enter, it's green, the weather is good. There's the little stream running, an offshoot of the Manda, most likely. And in general, it's nice. There's a flute player. There are people sitting here, probably having a day off from the field work and such. It has been a pretty good summer. The spring was long, and the summer is being equally long, it seems. And, generally things are good. The tavern owner is indeed maimed. He, first, on one hand, his right hand, has lost 3 fingers and seems to be really unable to grasp anything with that hand. Other than that, he also has a patch in front of his eye. As you enter, you see there's lots of sort of hangings around of different types of regalia. There is lots of old sigils from martial houses, and above the sort of the tavern bar, there is an old longsword set up.
Really?
I'm back in it, loaded.
There's
That was that huge picture.
There is also
That was
2 bar women walking around serving.
Wenches.
As they seem to be better, wenches. As they seem better at that than otherwise. Sir Gawain walks in, and as always, he gets looks. People turn. Silence fills the room. And then he is generally someone, mostly a traveling hedge knight or some such, greets him and sort of starts all the noise again, so to speak. He seems to be a man that traveling knights have heard of quite a bit. Though you're not really too familiar with him, other than by name. This time, however, it's a bit different because the person greeting him is it's a bald man with a sort of a bushy red beard who, as he enters, looks at the door. He has a big mug of ale, and he raises it up and says, "Ah, Sir Colbury, so good to meet you again. It's been quite a bit of time." You'll see Sir Gawain actually turn quickly to look to the man, and then frown as he says, Sir Ball, it has been too long indeed. He does not seem to be very happy to see this man, though not really in an angry expression. His eyes are a bit. He looks down a little bit. And it seems to be perhaps, well, you can do an empathy check if you want to know more about that, actually.
Sure, let's empathize.
All right. The emotions or displays on his face seem to be more a bit of sort of an awkwardness stemming from perhaps some sort of prior slight or sadness. He seems to be a little bit uncomfortable with it. Because, well, presumably there's something about the man that reminds him of something unpleasant.
It's like an old college buddy or something. It's like, oh, not that guy.
He saw me doing it.
Yeah, he saw me with. Oh no, he knows too much.
But he will, the man will certainly also look at all of you and sort of reads and says, and to the White Knight's companions.
Dessem will nod at him in greeting, basically.
Yeah, Alaric will do the same.
I guess the innkeeper will, see to our many needs of the group.
You will certainly be given generally food and ale while you're here. As you sit down, innkeeper looking to you, looking to Sir Gawain, and giving you a smile and sort of almost a wink with his good eye, calling one of the wenches over, and telling her something as you all sit down by the table. Horse gets out here.
Yes, horses.
I'll say the
Sure.
table is like over here
Okay.
by this door. If you want to sit around that
That's okay.
sewer entrance.
Mm. It's an interesting table, but yes.
Yeah. Sits down here as well. He has been a very quiet traveling companion in general. Seems to be a guy who's not very fun to have at a party.
Mm-hmm.
Stoic, although he would certainly talk about, if asked, his exploits and his dealings with hunting the raiders in the Vale through the mountains.
Oh my God! Look at that! Oh God!
Oh,
That's
Jesus.
sure.
Table.
Why not?
Apparently.
Let's put it over here.
You're welcome.
Let the server crash begin. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I'm stuck
Let-
under. I'm
It's
stuck
a
on
token. I'll fix it.
I'll take.
There we go.
What? Who am I?
Choose.
Choose carefully.
Well, who can I get away by touching?
What?
Hey,
What?
let's get
I'm
you a
married,
separate chair,
lady.
shall we?
Hey, we're both married.
Dude,
You can
this
certainly
is-
have a chair at the end of the table if you
Oh,
want.
it's-
You're younger. This is what
Uh,
you
Me and
expected.
Dessem, we should
As,
go for that.
As you sort of sit down, one of the wenches comes over with a very large portion of food. Actually, probably far more than you asked for. It also puts sort of flowers on the table,
Mm.
which you're not used to really. It's very nice. This place apparently. Instead of ale, you also offered a bottle of cider,
No, sure.
which is finer than ale. Than
Of
ale
course.
you drink. She'll give you a smile, especially lingering a little bit on Sir Alaric,
Uh-huh.
as it happens.
Uh-huh.
Damn it.
And certainly also Laenys in particular.
Uh-huh. Alaric, takes the opportunity to reach over somewhere and like all of his muscles play out as he like reaches around stuff.
He
Let's
reaches
get out.
deliberately over to get like a
Yep.
get like a big mug and it's like
Yeah, you're flashing not you're flashing
Why
your
does
your biceps,
Why does the women not look at me?
because you're swaddled
you're
in
weird
assassin
Braavosi thing.
clothes and look strange, I guess.
I
you're
look
a strange
mysterious. Girls
Braavosi
like
thing.
that.
Well, I think so. Alaric, of course, is a well-known knight for one.
And he's huge.
And I'm
Cute.
massive.
That's,
Everyone looks at him, if it's because they like him or not. I mean,
Big.
I'm an odd
Yeah.
man.
he's
Generally.
like
Do you think there'll
more
be a-
than 2 meters tall. He,
Yeah.
Do you think
People-
there was a chance that
He's
he
a
would
monster.
share his
So-
meter?
Whoa.
Alaric,
So
too.
I think you do need to swap places.
Yeah. He's on a
That's,
diet. He's trying to cut back.
if that's the shape of your wiener, that you need to see a doctor.
Bro, there's
No, no, no,
bacon.
I was saying that's his food. That's just Alaric's.
Oh, okay.
Sure, you're gonna have my place.
the man will go up, talking to the barkeep as Sir Gawain sort of looks over, and then goes for the driest bread, and ignores the cider and takes a bit of ale anyway. To drink and eat. It's been a long day of travel, but it's generally been a pleasant day. haven't really been a whole lot of...
That's much better than Dorn.
They don't need one there. Put that over there if you need to.
Oh, I thought they needed one.
But it's at the
God
bar.
damn it.
It's fine.
Fine.
After a little while, you probably got into a meal a little bit. The man will go take a chair and move it up to sit down at your table,
Of course it will.
giving you a smile.
Dessem will look at him, says, Sir Knight,
Says, good evening. I hope you have not had too much of a long day to share a word or two with another traveler. That gives Gawain a smile, who seems again slightly uncomfortable.
it's
Finished eating.
doesn't seem to be any harm in that. Sort of looking up and down. I'm sorry, Sir Knight, I didn't catch your name.
I am known as Sir Quinton Ball, at your service. And you may be?
I am Dessem Caladan of House Caladan.
Pleasure. I have heard about you in these parts.
Dessem smiles, assuming that the reputation is a good one.
It is. I've heard many good things of your recent deeds.
Oh no. He nods. Indeed, the house is on the rise, as it were. He smiles. So, traveling these parts much then, I take it?
He nods and says, actually quite a bit recently. I've had a lot of visits to do.
Mm-hmm.
He smiles and next to Sir Colby. I was actually waiting to have a word with the good White Knight. But I suppose we can take that later. Smiles. You do seem to be a very interesting group of people. You heading for Highgarden?
Indeed, we have some business to attend to at Highgarden.
Ah, the trial, yes.
You are surprisingly well informed.
Oh, it is a good thing to be in these lands.
I suppose so. Which lord are you currently working for, sir?
He looks to Sir Gawain again and says, well, I once offered a lord my service, but I was denied, sadly.
Oh,
I
my
suppose at the
apologies.
moment, I'm without a particular one. I move around.
Mm-hmm.
Sir Gawain dips his bread in his food, even though it's seemed to be done before.
Glumly. Well, you certainly seem to have a history with a good knightly escort here.
And says, the White Knights. The envy of the realm, wouldn't you say?
Dessem nods. The service to
Made
the
enough.
realm is unparalleled.
Great honor. She smiles and says, I have a bit of history, but I don't want to bore you with my past. It is not as interesting as the present that you're experiencing.
Oh, no. Au contraire, the present we're currently experiencing is just traveling. I would be delighted to hear any stories.
Well, me, I as well. If you would indulge me, perhaps you would tell me a little more of the issue. I know some, but learning it from a source like this, I haven't had the chance to do that in this case.
Dessem shrugs. The issue is a dispute with the Dornish house.
Well, this region has many, I believe.
Yes, ours flared up and became a bit more heated. Went from cold war to hot war for a few days there.
That is indeed what you say.
It is often so when one seeks justice from a cretin and a fiend, that cretin and fiend often fights back in the most cowardly way they can.
He takes some of the cider and raises his cup to it.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds just like, well, someone I know.
Dessem nods solemnly. Yes. But I am sure that the just judges at the trial will see the truth of the matter and judge accordingly.
He shrugged and says, well, the realm is sadly not a place of justice at the moment. There's been a lot of compromise in each of these ways. Perhaps, well, from what I've heard, there might be some interested people in the higher-ups who might want to see you punished simply to keep the peace of Dawn intact, whether you're right or wrong.
Dessem shrugs. We will certainly do our best to convince them otherwise. He looks at him, unless you can tell me a name of such.
Well, what name is to tell? The peace was signed and dealt with by some sort of corporation. Not that I will talk badly of anyone in particular, of course. We must trust that our lords will do what's best, even if we sometimes do not see why. He sounds bitter at this point. He will at this point take off his sort of traveling clothes. He's been dressed in sort of a fur cloak, rather expensive looking, really. Seems to be quite warm for the reach as he pushes it back over his shoulders on the chair, revealing a mail and surcoat in black with a red sort of a bolt of fire on it, blazoned on the breast. So you will dig into some of the food.
Does that seem to be his custom heraldry, or is it actually like?
You could, of course, roll a check to know either knowledge or status.
Knowledge education, or just knowledge?
Education, I'd say.
Okay.
I went with status herald.
Status heraldry is the most fitting, but yeah. Well, as it turns out, Laenys actually had the servant boy, whom he often speaks to, talk him about some of the gossip when they returned from Dorne. One of them were that a man known as the Fireball was traveling in the area, wields or has the Fireball as his sigil, ironically given to him. He said because he's bald and has very red hair. Beyond that, he's from House Ball. So he was teased by his good friend, or some say best friend, the Bittersteel, whom he often travels with.
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of because when the way he's talking here, this sounds like a Bittersteel recruitment speech to me.
Definitely. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, not someone we want to talk to or be friends with at this point in time, I think. I can understand why...
So
I understand why Egwene is kind of shuffling about a bit.
Yeah.
So, are you worried about this whole business with the Dornish?
The Dornish are a vicious lot, and they are sneaky.
That indeed, but with a firm hand, they can be handled. Many of them do not like that approach, however. We saw that before the peace.
That's an odds. Understandable. Being conquered is never easy.
Well, your house came with a conqueror.
We did, yes.
It said that you were once in high esteem in Highgarden.
He looks over him once.
For a time.
What happened?
No,
If I may be so bold.
That's
Took a step back.
After we had governed in Highgarden and done so successfully, we were thanked for our services, but our home province called us. More business to attend to at the home front. Being away for so long, even though performing such an illustrious service, you long for home in the end.
Indeed. Beyond that, there was a bit of a tryst with your house some years ago, no? Related to this, perhaps? I believe the Peaks were involved as well.
You cleared on your
He
research.
sure knows a lot about our family, yeah.
Dessem looks at him.
Looks back. He's no longer eating.
Mm-hmm. So, tell me a little bit more about the many visits you have been to recently. He looks at him. Which houses did you arrive from to this place most recently?
Most recently, I think, well, House Peaks, of course. It's very close by. Dustinbury had me a visitor for a few days.
And what is the news of House Peak?
They've left for Highgarden. Most of them, anyway. I was there. It was a nice place. Warm enough welcome.
Disappointed you didn't get to see Lord Peak.
Says no. I had a little business with him. To be honest, I came here looking for something interesting to hold on to, and, well, they told me that they had to go to Highgarden, and why.
Who's currently
I
stewarding
couldn't
their
believe myself.
What was that, Doc?
Who's currently stewarding their lands? Most of them have left already.
Like a cousin or brother of someone. It's all happening at Starpike anyway.
Of course.
Generally, you would appreciate visiting a lord's castle and finding one of them there.
That would be the reason to visiting that lord's castle, no doubt.
Yes. They were not quick to come, however. It seems perhaps that a visitor such as I is not important enough to be heard in decent time.
Well, the Peaks are notoriously prideful.
That can be a downfall, would you think?
Some nods.
Those who think themselves safe, that no one can hurt them, no one can harm them, and that peace will last forever, is generally the ones to fall the hardest when it doesn't. They've been dealing with the Talis for some event or other recently as well.
Yes, focusing much of one's attention to the west can leave one open from threats from the east, wouldn't you say?
Not this, I would, in fact. Yeah, drinks a little more. Letting you take the initiative.
Well, it seems then to me that since you are so well informed of our business, you didn't just simply wait here randomly. It seems to me more likely that you actually waited here to intercept us.
Sledgeman says, well, I never really stated the contrary. Most astute conclusion. But yes, I did. I spoke to the local people and heard what they had to think of you, and, well, says, I believe this trial could prove problematic for the political implications it would hold if you actually won.
Dessem looks at him. Oh.
Well, odds will be against you.
Odds are always against you.
He smiles. I think I like you. You remind me of someone I know.
Glory can only be truly obtained if, well, you work for it. The same for justice.
Well, just wreathed in flames. I mean,
Wreathed in flames.
burn the hands of the enemy. He nods.
We have walked through fires before, and we have gotten stronger for it. I don't see this case being any different.
Just fire striking one's enemies. He smiles slightly.
Yet you...
I can support that. In fact, he sticks his hand into one of his belt pockets to pick something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
He takes out a little piece of cloth and puts it on the table and says, "Why don't you take this with you?"
Dessem looks at the piece of cloth. Well, what is it?
Sort of remove the cloth, and you'll see a slight sort of a brooch, whereupon a yellow field, a little sigil, and then there is a red sort of a bull-looking thing on it.
Mm-hmm. Do I recognize the symbol?
Reading what this means.
Do you? Let's have a roll.
Sure.
True.
What kind of role is it? Real question.
Assume it's education again. That is a good roll.
Yes, you do recognize that. It is the personal sigil of the Bittersteel. He wears a golden field, whereupon a red sort of horse, slight horns, and black wings as a combination of his mother's house and the sigil of House Targaryen. It's a sigil of the sort of great bastards of royal blood.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a smile and says, "I'm sure it'll turn some heads, but well, wearing that might set Gormy in his place."
Out of character? That sounds like a very bad idea.
Mm-hmm. I get what he's saying. I also
I
think
totally
I
get
understand
what
what
he's
he's saying.
saying.
It is something that grants us a short-term boon, but long-term consequences.
Yeah.
Basically, he is saying that the Bittersteel has Gormy under his boot. And if we wear that, it's going to show that we outrank Gormy in this case, and he's going to be on our side.
But the
But
long-term
That
implications...
will also signal to all of fucking Highgarden that we are in league with the Bittersteel.
And it will also say to Bittersteel, yeah, we're cool taking your aid, and signal him basically saying we owe him now.
Yeah.
Sure. Warm smile as he pushes the cloth towards you. Take it, please. It's a personal gift. Smiles.
You know, Dessem wraps it up again, still having it on the table, looks at him. Fireball indeed. This item is controversial, to say the least. I appreciate the gesture, I do. Looking down at it.
You burn everyone who touches you. I direct it a little bit more. Rudeness can be answered. It would be good, perhaps, to take Gormy down a few peaks.
That would be very fun. Yes, I would agree to that a whole lot. If the Bittersteel called us up and say, you know what, sign with me and you get all of Gormy's lands, and I would be like, yes,
Yes, thank you.
sold. Yeah, you know, Dessem will let it lie on the table for now, at least.
Let's see. So, look and say, Sir Colbury, why don't you relay the reason of your solemn mood to your traveling friends? It's no secret. Colbury looks at you. Says, I'm sorry if I'm being a less jovial than would be warranted for the situation. Sir Paul, next to you, I'm sure my lords would have little interest. I'm here to escort them.
Oh. Nonsense. We will be delighted to hear. We've heard precious little of your past dealings. He smiles.
This is not of me. I had nothing to do with it.
Do tell. Leaning forward.
I like where this is going.
Ball leans back a bit on the chair, sort of tilting it slightly on the two hind legs of it, looking at Corby, who seems... he's a very stout man, but he seems to be uncomfortable with this, quite so. Sort of moving a little bit nervously and says, the reason I am acquainted with Sir Ball is that we met during some training. I was to introduce him to his future brothers of the Kingsguard. Aegon, King Aegon at the time, had promised him the white cloak, given that such an introduction would not put his family in jeopardy. Quentin looks at Gwaine, his face sort of hardening. The good Sir Quentin did as the king commanded. He sent his children away to be fostered and adopted by other houses, and his wife went to the Silent Sisters to facilitate the king's wishes. It was to be a great honor, after all, wearing the cloak. When this was done, however, and he came to take it, Aegon had died, and Daeron, the good, was king. Daeron decided that there were other people who deserved the cloak more than Sir Paul. And so he named Sir Willem Wild instead, leaving Sir Ball with little. We had to ask him to leave the capital.
Sir Willem Will.
A brave man, indeed.
So just leave.
House Wild. Yeah.
Wild?
Wild. Yeah.
Okay.
They are in the Stormlands.
Okay.
Sorry, it sounded like Will, not Wild. So like.
All our enemies have people.
No,
who
it's
start-
Wild. You haven't met any of them.
Yes, the point is
They are in the Rainwood.
the point is, for us, red lights turn on when we misheard it. Like, wait, what?
Yes.
Well, this was a truly heart-wrenching tale. He will thoughtfully take a
Looks at
sip of
you.
his drink.
His face sort of stone. It's just that's the short of it. From one side, it says, he drinks again a little more. It says, perhaps now you understand that I would hate to see more just men lose their families and their purposes.